Quiet on set. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Let's Potty Podcast with your host, Benji Weatherly. It's the podcast where you learn absolutely nothing.
I always start really randomly and I ramble, but this time I have a really, really old, good friend, Damien Hobgood.
We got a set
the
list.
Younger of the two.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yep.
What, a minute?
Yeah.
1 minute younger than CJ Hobgood, and that's why CJ has a world title. There's so much history. There's so much good stuff we're going to talk about, but welcome to the potty, Damien Hobgood.
Yeah.
There's applause because we have a live audience.
Oh, cool.
No, we don't.
Yeah. Keep it down.
Damo. Jeez, I love it. So Damo, was that a nickname that the Aussie guy gave you, or did Satellite Beach come up with it?
It was.
Sounds like an Aussie, eh?
Yeah.
Hello.
I didn't mind Damo.
Short,
I just was like, I didn't want Duma. I didn't really want that.
They changed that because he was a dick?
No, it was like Damien Hardman's name, and I was just like, I didn't want the same nickname as him.
Yeah, Damo's better.
So when I got Damo, I was like, yes.
Yes. Nice. So it wasn't a kid thing where you're a little kid and people called you Damo. It was when you got on tour. And
It was when I started going to Australia.
that's what I mean. The Aussies named you.
So.
They have to, because Aussies have to change everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's funny, man. How's, gosh, man, there's so much. So our young friend here, I remember the first time I met you, you were probably 12 or 13, and both of you guys got on Rusty. What year did you get on Rusty?
I want to say it's like 14.
14, and I was
15,
writing for
yeah.
Rusty, and I think Kalani, and we had such an insane team. And these two little nuggets, they're twins. By the way, if you don't know, CJ Hobgood and Damien Hobgood are twins that have basically been some of the most impactful surfers the last 20 years. So really cool to have you. But more than anything, it's like when you're going out as a 12, 14-year-old kid, want to be a pro surfer, I always thought, like, my brother surfs just like me. How are we going to pull this off? Like, it's like literally like trying to do the same thing with your best friend, but you're like, dude, I need the sponsors. He's like, no, I need the sponsors.
Yeah.
Like, how was it like in the beginning where you're like, this ain't going to work if there's two of us?
Yeah, it was a weird thing, and it was just like, and how are they going to decide?
Right.
And are they going to pick him? Maybe they're going to pick him over me, and you're just kind of thinking like, this is some kind of cruel joke. Like,
Is that the only twins that ever make it? I know there's been brothers, tons, but I think you're the only twins.
well, I know identical twins. I know that wasn't the Gudauskis brothers, I think, twins. One. I don't know which ones.
I think you might be right on that. Is it Dane and Patrick? No, Pat's the young one. I think it's Tanner. I don't know.
I don't
Actually,
know
that's a
either.
good question.
Yeah.
We'll ask them
Maybe
when
it's
they're on
Dane
there.
and Pat. I don't know, dude.
Okay, but no. I don't think. The more I think about it, there's no identical twins that have ever made it in action sports. I don't think. I mean, that's kind of a. Cool
Oh, you
thing.
know what? I know that the Bryan brothers are tennis players, and they did
Oh
it.
yeah. That's
They
not
pulled
action
it.
sports. You know that, right?
Oh.
Okay. Action sports means like you don't get paid.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Action sports means.
It means you have to get a job.
Yeah, exactly.
You're the best action sports of all time. Where do you work? In and out.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck, man? But then the Bryan brothers play tennis. They're probably rich, and I've never heard of them.
Yeah.
Filthy rich.
So
Oh, man. That's great. So you, Jones, in the beginning to be a pro surfer, but your little buddy that's getting the same sponsors. Did you guys get sponsored by Rusty? I can't remember at the same time? Or was it different?
yeah,
sponsors?
we did. It was the same time, and then, it was like, it was GNS right in the beginning, which they had a factory in Oceanside. We're like 12 years old.
That was your
Went
first
out-
sponsor, is GNS?
Yeah, we went out to this factory, like, whoa. And then Paul Gomez picked us up on Billabong. And I think you were on it, right?
I was on Billabong, yeah.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, when you guys were so little, what I was trying to get at in the beginning, when you're a pro surfer and you're, getting paid and you're finally making it, and then these little groms come along that are terrifyingly good. And these guys were them. And I remember Kalani being a little intimidated too, because it was like, you guys were so good at competing at a lot of things at such a young age that it was like, not only that, but there's two of these assholes. And it was like, you could get through one heat with them, and you're like, I got through Damien. And then CJ's in your next heat. You're like, God damn it. So it was just, it's such an anomaly that's so fun to remember. But the reason why it's so funny is because your father, that no one got to meet but me, I feel like I'm the only one that actually got to know why you guys are so amazing. His dad is Kenny Powers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Kenny Powers.
Yeah, Clifton Kenny Powers. Yeah.
Dude, we got to put a picture of his pops in probably the early 90s when he had the blades and everything.
The blades and the mullet. I saw a photo with him the other day. It was like a Father's Day thing, and he had the mullet. And dude, and he wasn't scared to wear Speedos either. And we had to shut that down. Like, Dad, you cannot wear Speedos to the beach. He's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, dude. The razor blades, the mullet, and the Speedos, dude. I ain't never going to get a sponsor. So we had to shut that down. And then he used to be like, hey, dude, I'm going to film you guys. You know, and he had the big old,
the camcorder.
And so we're like, cool, Killer's going to film us. After like 3 or 4 times, it was either him filming girls or like, you know, when you get it mixed up and like you hit,
on and off.
So it was like the sand the whole time. And then right as we were about to stand up, it like shut off. And then finally CJ and I looked at us, but you can't take it anymore. Like, Dad, quit the filming. If you want to show up, great. But like, dude,
wear pants.
Yeah, you're good.
It was such a great thing because you guys were so young. I don't know what event we're at in Florida. Gosh, I wish I remember all that. But your dad came up and I go, this guy's legit. And so what I was going back to earlier is their accents. CJ and Damien's accents are so different. And we always thought Damien, we always would joke about it behind his back, that he sounded like a San Clemente stoner. It was like, yeah, dude, man, like that. And then his brother did it. So it was kind of like, that's how I deciphered what Hobgood was there. I'm telling you in the beginning, one of you guys had a scar, I think, on your head.
Yeah,
and that was the only way I could tell it was CJ. Right? He has a scar?
No, I get the scar.
Let me see.
Yeah.
You had a scar on your head.
Oh, like right here.
Yeah. It was something, and I remember the Rusty guys going, I'm like, how do you know which one? He's like, dude, he has a scar. And I remember going, okay, that's how we're going to do it. Obviously, after time, you guys totally took on your own little look and stuff, especially because you stayed in Cali. You moved out here when I bought my house. We kind of bought our houses at the same time, right?
Well, no. So I was thinking about this today. So like you and your brother are probably like one of the main reasons why I moved to San Diego.
Really?
And you guys probably didn't even know it. So we were always spending so much time up in Orange County and stuff like that.
Right. You're a Newport kind of guy, right?
Yeah, we were just like crashing at people's houses. And then every once in a while, like when you guys got your house on the other side of the freeway, and we would come down and hang with you guys, and I was like, dude, this place is insane. I'm like, this place is like the best place in the world. Right. And then after I'd leave, I'd always be like, dude, when I get enough money, I'm buying a house down there. And sure enough,
you got a sick house too. I love your spot.
Yeah, and then sure enough, I called Taylor's mom because Taylor was like, oh yeah, my mom's a real estate agent. And I'm like, really? I'm like,
shout out to Betty.
Oh, yeah, I'm like, give me her number. And ended up, she took me around and then bought a house.
And Cody found this house.
Oh, yeah?
Cody's the man. Another shout out. He's the best surfer in San Diego now. Mm-hmm. I heard Cody he's like, know. Are you on the board riders for INSEE?
No, I'm not.
No, I'm sponsoring that, so we need to get you on the team.
Yeah. Well, they always invite me. It's just my kids always got these events in the weekend, and I'm always like...
You don't want to surf contests? You've been doing that for 30 or something?
That's why I was like, hey, guys, I want to do this, but I can't. How am I going to... justify that my kid like, oh, I'm going to do another surf contest, and it's like, damn, you've been doing that for like 30 years. Like, what? Can't come watch my game?
Exactly. So, your kid's like, give it up, Dad.
Get serious.
Hang it up, brother. But so what's the Salty Crew deal now? You got a little bump in the sponsorship and still kind of get packed in some barrels. I saw the other day.
Well, yeah. I mean, just they're founded in San Diego.
Yeah,
Salty
seem
Crew.
like cool dudes.
Yeah, so just super cool guys. Just really good friends, and obviously CJ. People always ask like, dude, you got part of Salty Crew? I was like, nah, I'm just the cheerleader. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, just really good friends with them, and just want to see the brand succeed and do really good. And they're kind of like everything that I love to do.
I know, like it's such a cool thing that brands have turned into fishing companies.
Yeah,
you're like, I'm sponsored by a fishing company finally. That's the Floridian guys. I mean, I don't want to go down a Todd Klein hole, but finding out he's one of the best fishermen in the world, and I'm like, who is? They're like, yeah, Todd Klein. I saw him on the freeway with a truck with logos. There was 7,000 logos, and I looked and I go, I think that's Todd Klein, and I honked, and he looked at me, and I'm like, fuck you. How are you? What is happening? And he was just like, he was in head to toe gear.
Yeah, he's got
it was rad though.
He's got the outfit on.
Nothing's cooler than that. It's like seeing Fisher.
Yeah.
You're like, this is a guy that literally you kicked out of your hotel room every night because he was crazy and dancing around, making weird noises.
Oh, yeah.
And now he's the most famous person on earth.
Dude.
And he's like that. And you're like, this is so rad to see.
You know what? It took me like 5 years to finally believe it. Somebody like, dude, Fisher, he's going big. And somebody like, dude, I saw his something
and
out.
You're like, yeah, right.
I saw him at Coachella and it was insane. I'm like, dude, you guys are pulling my leg. And I'd be like, nah. And then finally I was all, dude, these guys are right. I was like, it was.
If you would have put him in that heat with all the world champs at Snapper 10 years ago on video and told people that was going to happen, everyone would think it was the biggest joke ever. And he's going to ride a dick board and, and have more people on the beach wanting to see him than Kelly Slater. Kelly's like, I'm here too. They're like, fuck that dick face. Like, oh my God, it was so good.
But I remember being like stuck in Surfer's Paradise with them and no one would pick us up. And I'm like, dude, Fish, you live here. Like, have someone come pick us up. It's like, dude, mate, no one wants to come pick us up.
Nah, I'm a train wreck, mate.
Yeah, no one wants to. I remember sitting there for hours being like, dude, this guy lives in this town and no one will come pick him up. And
Imagine now.
We need to get back to the waves.
Oh my God.
You know? And
now he has a helicopter to take him out. That's why I love it. He's balling out of control. He's like, Kelly, you want to come on my plane?
Yeah, it's so insane.
That's the greatest thing about our lives is we get to see weird things happen, and it's so
you
cool.
just never know, right?
Never know. And it's like Kelly right now having a child.
Yeah.
It's like, of course he is.
Yeah.
And he's a boy, and he's going to be called Gator. We've already named him Gator. You know that?
I heard
it's
that.
Darth Gator Slater.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a pretty sick name.
Shout out to Kalani, Darth Gator Slater mama.
Yeah.
It's exciting times for all of us because we all live through Kelly because we have no lives. And no, but it is pretty amazing that even you and weren't a part of Momentum, but you're literally on the cusp in the preschool and seeing your career and seeing all this stuff. But more than anything, seeing you as a father is the dopest thing ever. Just seeing you raise kids. And that's what makes it so great is the person you are, knowing that the dad you must be when I'm not there must be such a rad experience because you're always been somebody that you're like, if Damon's there, we're good. You know?
Oh, thanks. So my daughter just graduated SBA.
18?
She's almost 18. But that was an insane experience. Like, because I always think about like, oh, like congratulations to the kid, and I just thought like that. But then when it's your kid, you're like, congratulations to me.
Right.
I freaking pulled this off.
Totally.
So then it's like I kind of got a little bump of like, dude, I freaking did a good job.
That is it's way better than any accomplishments we did in the water. It's it's really inspiring. Like Chris Brown's funeral, his daughter came up and just said he did the best job, and he told his dad, "I did it, Dad. I did it," because she graduated college, and he was working the hardest job, getting urchins and doing everything to be the best dad, and told him, "Dad, I did it." On the day he died on the phone. Oh, yeah. Daddy, you'd be proud. I did it. And he passed away that day. And it's a very crazy story to even share. But just the fact that you experienced the same thing where even Chris Brown had a lot of demons and a lot of things, but he was like, I got my daughter to the promised land. I did it. Did it. And now I'm going to go to heaven and do some airs.
Yeah. But it's funny when they ask you about college and stuff. And you're like, oh,
is she going to go?
Yeah. But they're like, do it, and then I'm like, well,
I didn't get to go.
Like, no, none of us ever went.
No, surfers went.
We're like, so I'm like, dude, how do I say this, but not like have her be like, well, dude, you don't even know what you're talking about. Like, what do you? You never even went to college. And so I was like trying to like use it. Well, I heard people saying that it's good to go to like community like college. It's like it's like way better deal and I'm just trying to save money.
Yeah, you're like, Miracosta, 4 years, you're done.
Yeah. So, and then she ended up doing it. She's going to go to Miracosta.
Sick.
So I was just like, yes, like.
Good. And then if she wants those last 2 years in a nice college, you can sell your house and live in Tijuana.
Totally. Pretty much.
We made it.
That's what that's what I told her. I said, dude, all you got to do is graduate like 1 year from a good college. No one cares where you went in the beginning. You just, dude, I graduated, what?
At UCLA.
Yeah. And they're like, no way. No one goes, Well, dude, where'd you go for the first 7 years? No one says that. It's only where you graduated from.
I totally
So
agree.
as long as you do like the last year there.
At Harvard for a month. You're like,
you
you
go.
got 30 days at Harvard. It's $70,000. Hustle.
Yeah. So that's my theory on that.
So this is Annie's show as well. And I want to hear what she has to say because she always comes up with rad shit.
For sure. I mean, I've been loving. You guys have the best back and forth. Like, this is awesome. But I would love to just dial it back. You were talking about like your dad filming you and your brother when you're growing up. And I mean, I've grown up around kind of the surf industry as it is now. So I'd love to hear from you because you've seen the progression of all of it. How was it becoming a pro surfer at the time that you were coming up?
Yeah, it was, I think it was one of the best times, and Benji kind of touched it. They were like in this other class basically, but I was pretty close. I was like, maybe like they were the seniors and I was maybe like in like 10th or 11th grade, maybe like almost there, but not there, but like, just following whatever they were doing. And, and I remember even Kelly at like 18, you remember when he got like, he must've got a contract like over $100,000. And you remember like, dude, he's making like 5 figures. And
Totally.
or
Yeah, I think it
figures,
was. It was like
6
60
figures?
grand, I think he got signed for or something.
Dude, it was something like that. I'm like, no way, dude, he's getting so much money. And then I was trying to sell that on my parents, like, dude, you can make money in this thing. Like, look at what Kelly's doing. He just got this contract and he's just turned 18. He's going on the road. Like, Mom, we can do this. And so not only was I like following them and trying to like do everything they were doing and they were such an inspiration, but then I was even using that. Like, no, dude, these guys are making money. We can do this, Mom. And then like, even to the point of like my first concert I ever went to was like, I think it was the Good Times when it came through, and it was like
that was the coolest part. Is it
Pennywise.
was every year you would go. Those guys would come through your town with the best bands ever.
Yeah,
and the movies would get you psyched.
Yeah,
they don't have that anymore.
And so they were coming through towns like the first concerts I ever went to. So there was like, it was super funny.
It's so funny.
Yeah, so it was very influential. So even though I was like kind of hanging out with them, but like kind of was like the little, like he was saying, like the little kid that like, dude, kind of get out of here, but like you're kind of cool, but like we don't know. And I was just it was funny.
It was a crazy time.
Let me come stay at your house. Like, dude, I'll just sleep on the garage, like in the couch. Like you won't even know I'm there. Oh, and then you remember like 17? Mm-hmm. Dude, we would roll through there, and there was like everyone was living in a warehouse. Everyone was living in a warehouse.
That was when I was roommates with Tom DeLong, and we literally go there all day and have nothing to do, and we just like paintball and play basketball.
Yeah, you remember
it was
that?
like a clubhouse.
Yeah, and there was like people living in the warehouse.
My brother lived in the warehouse because he couldn't afford.
Yeah, we're like, dude, they're like making these clothes. Like this is crazy, and like it
was based off a shirt I got in Hawaii at the Pipe House. My sister was 17, and she got in the mail from a magazine, long sleeve black shirt, said 17, exactly the way Jason took it.
Yeah.
And I wore it around because I was 17. I was like, fuck yeah, this is sick.
Yeah.
And he took that and made it into the dopest brand probably 6 years later. And I didn't even know where he got the idea. And he told me he got it from that. I was like, what? And then the fucking, I don't even want to tell the bad side of it, but Greg and everyone was a part of it. Conan, we're at a trade show and I was riding for Billabong and this guy's there with his tag and it doesn't look like he's there for surfing.
Yeah.
He's taking photos, and he gives the guy I'm standing next to a card and it was 17 magazine. And I was like, oh, they're probably stoked,
Yeah.
And they sued him and took their company right there. I was like,
yeah,
no!
It was so heavy.
They just didn't know. When you're a kid, you just don't know.
Well, so you may start seeing some 17 stickers around again because Alex Gray up where I live is doing reprints of
I saw him with
all
the
the
board
17
stuff.
How cute was that photo? Yeah. Or no. The other day, didn't he post it with shorts on?
I think so. Yeah, but he's like
Alex had him on.
Remember at the party that you were cooking for?
The Greg Brownie.
Yeah, he had the red ones on.
I forgot about that. Yeah. My nephew had him at the ranch the other day at Kelly's thing, and he had Jason's original ones that he sewed to fit because J-Do's a little bigger. Yeah. It was pretty neat to see those.
Jason's helping Alex do reprints of like the 17 stickers, and Alex is handing them out to everybody at Greg's breakfast every week.
Because 17 is probably not even a magazine anymore, right?
I don't know. You would know.
It is. There's been talk about kind of low key bringing back 17, seeing like if anybody has any of the old designs and
just
stuff.
put apparel or
But if
something.
you guys actually had money or a lawyer, you probably could have beat it.
No, the reason why they lost it, and I'll tell you right now, and I was young as hell, it was they couldn't fight it.
Yeah, they didn't have the money.
They had to fill all the money they had, fill the orders, and as soon as they stopped that, they couldn't fill the orders, and then the people said, okay, if you can't produce, we're done. And they can't get the customer back. So they lost everything because of that. Because they couldn't fight it. Like you said, if they had money, they would have been fine.
Oh, yeah, they've been fine.
But no, they're living in a van down by the river.
Yeah. And you know what? The funny thing is, like, your brother and I talked about that. And that was, like, right before, like, Volcom hit
it would have been
like,
big.
It would have, been...
The biggest thing ever. It
would have been huge. And it was already going to do that.
Yeah. I mean, they had the Jordan days. They had Rodman wearing them in photos on, like, before internet shit.
Yeah.
But, like, he had the best basketball team of all time wearing his shorts. Yeah. It would have been so big. And that's why it's such a rad story, because it's almost like the reason why we appreciate life so much is because there's death. It's like that not working out almost is a bigger lore, If it did work out, they sold to Quicksilver and yada yada. They're rich and whatever.
Yeah,
it's not as romantic as having it all taken away and then having to like hear about it down where you're like, we're making stickers again, and it's like that's like cool band that never made it.
Oh, yeah, right? And it's like the cool the Groms at home like. You're cool if
you have a 17.
If you know about 17, like
that's so cool to hear.
I heard a bunch of them talking about it the other day, and one was talking about, oh yeah, Alex Gray's giving out 17 stickers, and a couple of them were like 17, like the Chick magazine. They're like, dude, you're not core if you don't know what 17 is.
Yeah, not many people know. Yeah, that's what makes it cool.
Totally.
Right? Yeah, if you start seeing 17 stickers being put up, I know a bunch of the guys wanted to bring them down to like lowers and stuff, and just start putting them up everywhere.
Yeah, the cool part is we have a musician coming on after Damo to divulge that we record most of our stuff in the same day, and I change outfits to make it look different. But yeah, TSOL, True Sounds of Liberty. Do you know that was the name of them? Yeah. Favorite band of all time. The reason why I wanted to be a pro surfer, and Damo actually met him, and the reason I got the number is the time where he met him, and it's so cool to hear the stories that you said about Joe Wood. Because there was two singers, there's a lot of history we're going to go through when he gets here, but it's so cool to think like me and Damo grew up with this band, and when you were young and you heard music, it was literally the thing that made you want to be a pro surfer. It was music, and it seems crazy. I wonder if snowboarders and skaters feel the same way about certain music. Like that's when I did the handrail, like all this crazy stuff. Yeah, we did some of the craziest stuff because of music. I did for sure. I just was focused in on listening.
Well, I think for me was always. So you would see the part and hear the music. Yeah. And so those two were like lived in simultaneously. So you wouldn't even have to see necessarily the video.
It was already in your head.
It was already in your
DNA.
And so all you had to do was put the CD in.
It's so true.
Listen to the music, and you thought you were like Aki. Or you thought you were like...
I couldn't agree more. That's why I loved it. It was, dude, when you would hear those Billabong movie soundtracks and your cassette tape in your buddy's car that was rattling to get to the beach, and you were, oh my God, all you remember is seeing Aki do this carve, and you're like, you didn't even have to have the video anymore, right?
Yeah, and so that's what it was all with all the momentum stuff. Yeah. Like, dude, everything you put in a certain song, dude, I was throwing spray like freaking Justin Poston. I was doing freaking airs like Kalani. Like, all I had to do was the only thing I had to do was song had to come in. So true. And then it was just like
I put that on my Spotify. They have a momentum something of music from all the generations.
Oh wow.
It'll blow your mind. Every song, who it would be fun to do like a game show. Is that
trivia.
Trivia and have everyone go play a song. Whose part? You'd be like, oh, that was fucking Brian Bielman's movie you made on the you would remember the randomest stuff.
But you remember how I said I was like In the Wind, and you're like
wind.
Chris Brown.
I gotta bring that up.
Chris Brown, Peter King,
Sonny
Garcia.
I knew the wave. It's a wave that's not even good on the drive to St. Lucas. It's like this crappy beach break. But in my heyday as a child, I remember going, I want to surf that so bad. And I went and surfed it. I'm like, this wave sucks. But they totally knew how to like put something in your mind that made you feel like this is the dream scenario. And that's why I became a pro surfer. Yeah. It was literally listening to the band that we're going to have on. It's sick.
Totally.
And so fun because the cool part about it too is the bands were never the biggest. Well, Blink got pretty fucking big, but most of them. That was
because of you though.
I know, but that was a anomaly comparable to Pennywise. Like Pennywise, he'll come, like Jim will come over here and have beers with us and be solely normal. Tom is literally at Epstein's Island right now, jerking off in his own mouth. I mean, honestly, it's like a level of fame that has to like be real.
I did see he's got like a crazy car. What's his like car? It's like
some like Land Cruiser from Jesus Jones on the moon. I don't.
Yeah,
it got weird.
But he pulled through Seaside the other day, and I kind of did a triple take. I'm like, oh wait, that's Tom, and I like waved and I could tell he looked over like, dude, who the hell is this guy?
I know. Yeah, he's like, it's not fun. It sucks.
No, but it was so cool. I
love him. He's got such a good heart, but yeah, he's so famous that it is getting weird. And he has
I love it, but it's like funny.
It's funny.
You know.
It's funny, but that's what made it so great is these bands never got that big and surfers are basically homeless. And
or then you have the other end of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Like the other night, like a Monday night, I swung by the Leucadian bar, and there's like, oh, just gonna shoot some pool, have a couple beers. Now, so I start playing pool, and I start talking to this guy. I'm like, gosh, this guy looks like he's familiar. Like, I like know him. And then he starts. I'm like, dude, what are you up to? And he's like, oh, I was in this band. And I'm like, and he's like, oh, have you ever heard like TSOL? I'm like, dude, what?
TSOL.
And I'm all, wait.
Drop the pool stick.
And I was like, no way. I was like, dude, my brother and I grew up on you. Like, I was like, dude, we had the CD, Hell and Back Together, black CD, flames on it. And I'm like, dude, you remember that one? He's like, oh, yeah. And I was like, dude, we wake up every morning, we put that thing on. And I think I even butchered the name of the song. I was all, dude, was it like Flowers by the Door?
No, that's
Roses
the right
by the Door.
You said Roses.
I was like, dude, I think it's like Roses by the Door or something. He's like, oh, I think it was like Flowers by the Door.
I think I named it Flowers by the Door.
Yeah. And so I was like fully butchering it, but like so stoked. And it was.
That's top 10 surf songs of all time.
Yeah.
It would be Flowers by the Door probably on the top. That's how
totally.
good that song is.
And dude, that's what we did. We play that thing every morning. And I was all.
Your mom's like, please turn that.
Dude, and just blare it too. And
Kenny Powers, Papa Bear is just dancing with a Budweiser, just boom. These kids are lit.
Yeah.
Before the kids,
dude, we had like big old speakers too. So we were like blasting it. But yeah, it was just so random. And then you were like, dude, this guy's gonna come over. I'm like, no way, I met him like a couple weeks ago.
But that's our lives, right? Yeah. I don't want to go crazy, but I've just thought of something I really want to know. What was it like growing up in Atlantic Beach, for one? Because I've been there going through. That's where NASA is, right?
Yeah, we'll say Satellite Beach. But
excuse me, Satellite Beach. But
Atlantic Beach, there's Atlantic Beach in like New Jersey or something. So I don't know
what the hell am I talking about then?
Oh, so Indy Atlantic. So you got Indy Atlantic, you got Melbourne, and then Satellite Beach.
Okay, I'm thinking the Indian Atlantic.
Yeah.
There's a golf course that Kelly always took me to there.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I remember that shit.
Exactly.
But where you guys grew up, CJ, what's his name? The big guy. What was his name? He would depart all the time. CJ. He was a pro surfer for a minute. Has like 20 kids, I heard. Christian.
Oh, Brian Hewitson? No,
all you guys. No. I love Brian Hoots. I like all the East Coast dudes. I was thinking CJ. So he even lived in PB for a long time. Mike Powers' buddy. I can't remember. He's older than you. CT Taylor.
CT.
Sorry, CT.
Yeah.
That took me a second. But anyway,
CJ,
he grew up in your hometown, right? He was a hometown boy?
Yeah.
Okay,
He's
so.
like right down the road.
Okay, so you guys grow up and you got to paint the picture for all the people out there. It's the flattest place on earth. We're in Florida. And the waves all are exactly the same. All down the coast. I should move my chairs, right? Is that a bad thing? Whatever.
I don't think it's squeaky.
That's Annie's
Get the WD-40.
Exactly. I want to experience. Were you guys, your house you grew up in? Was it a one house you grew up in? Did you move around a lot? Was it on the beach? Was it 1,000 degrees, mosquitoes? What was it like growing up with Kenny Powers?
Yeah, it was just a single story. Kind of just a normal.
Sisters?
I had a sister, another brother, and then obviously CJ.
And you guys are the youngest.
No, we're the oldest.
Oh, so you guys came out, and then you have a brother and a sister.
Yeah, a sister and a brother.
Okay.
Yeah, and then and it was cool because we could ride our bikes to the beach. It was only
so you were right there.
10 minutes most.
Right.
So we could blaze to the beach, and then CT didn't live that far, so we could ride our bikes to his house.
And he already kind of was a pro surfer, right?
And he was kind of he was dabbling. He kind of knew everything. He was like he was like. He had it all together.
Yeah.
He knew the connections. And the main thing was is he was able to drive before anyone. And he had this bus, like, the VW bus. And we would all pile in that thing and go to the inlet or go where.
Is Inlet Sebastian?
Sebastian Inlet.
Okay, so that was kind of the best wave.
So,
How far was
he
that?
was
Hour?
like.
Hour drive?
It was like 35, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And so we would like all go to his house, jump in the bus, and just
Go get dropped in by Keckley.
Yeah, go to Cocoa Beach or mainly it was the inlet. And just spend all day down there, and it was super cool.
Yeah, like to explain to everyone out there, the beach breaks there are just basically the hardest waves to surf on earth. And then you have like this jetty that, thank God, someone made. And then now you got almost a boat trip wave if it's 3 feet. It's such a different. We're talking a wedge for people out there. The wave hits against the jetty, pushes away from the jetty, and you can actually get the most speed you've ever had in your life. And then you can actually rip. So growing up in Florida, all these professional surfers would always blow my mind because I grew up in Hawaii, and literally every day was the best day in Florida, no matter the worst day.
Yeah.
And I would always go like, how is Kelly Slater the best surfer in the world for that place? And then when you guys came out of there, I was like, how do these, but then we always would joke, it's because they're so psyched to surf.
Yeah.
Because they're out there like, it's almost like the batter's box. We got the weight on your bat, and you're like, ugh, and then you take it off, and you're like, ding, That's what I always thought of. I was like, well, they're going to surf no matter what because they grew up in shitty waves. And it definitely helped,
Totally. Like, I mean, you guys would be like, it doesn't look that good. And we're like, dude, it's firing. We're going to be out here all day. And you guys are like on the beach, like, dude, let's get out of here. It sucks.
I totally agree. I'm with these Hawaiians that are like, dude, is it wind? I'm out. Like, it's so random. But it did cause you guys to be the most competitive, successful guys out of Florida. I mean, your career was as long as mine. I mean, it went on forever. You guys were like over 20 something years as a pro surfer is a huge achievement.
Yeah, thanks. It was, but as you know, it goes by like that.
Yeah.
People are like, dude, that was a long time. I'm like, dude, I know it was a long time. I was like, it didn't feel like it.
Didn't feel like it.
Yeah.
No, at 38, when I got my last contract, I was like, I don't want to do this anymore because I remember older guys were taking money from younger guys, and I was always like, despite them, I'd be, even if I had a good heart and everything, I was just like, why is that old guy still trying to do it? And right when I realized that, I went, oh my God, I'm out. Yeah. And I had money on the table, and I was like, I'm out. I go, I don't want to be that guy. I go, I had such a good career. I don't want to be that old guy that people are like, why isn't it? I mean, they were talking, Kelly's 4 years older than me. They were talking about Kelly, and he was still like #1 in the world. And they're like, he should just give it up. And I remember going, I don't even make heats. Like, I should totally give it up. I mean, you get to a point, which I know you probably had it, where you're like, am I being kind of laughed at? Like, you know what I mean? Like, because the sport is so hard, and we kept it at such a high level that right when that level drops a little bit, you're like, everyone's watching. Like, it's just getting embarrassing, And it is probably the most revealing thing you'll ever go through in your life is now when I surf, I don't want anyone to watch.
Yeah.
I want no one on the beach. I got a guy delivering a 12-pack of Coors Lights right now. Costs $36. Joe, you better appreciate it. Thanks, bud.
Yeah, that's for the TSOL guy, not me.
No, it's not. No, thank you. You can just drop it right there. Oh, look at that. No, you guys keep talking.
Driver's license.
Oh yeah. He needs. You don't even have a driver's license. Does passport work? What was I gonna say on that? Benji, I was gonna say along the lines of that. For me, was my daughter was 9 years old, and I was like, dude, I gotta stop doing this. I gotta. If not, she's not gonna know me before I know she's gonna be graduating, and all I did was like traveling and surfing. So that's what really had me going, I gotta stop.
To that point, were you still competing?
Yeah, and I remember she was like 9 years old. I was like, I'm done. I gotta stop doing this.
So what age did you retire at, like officially?
I don't know. I just remember she was 9 years old, and so I don't know how you backtrack from that, but it's been like, I don't know, 8, maybe 10 years since then. Mm-hmm. But then, so I retired from pro surfing on those lines of like, oh man, I got to spend time with my family and my kids. Because if not, I only have this small window. By the time she gets her license, she's going to be gone, and
there's a lot of milestones from 9 on.
Yeah.
Like so really close together.
So I was just like, so that was the main thing that kind of like had me wanting to stop pro surfing. And then then after that, to have me like fall back in love with surfing, because I was like, I just looked at it as like a job because I'd had it so long that I was like, man, I need to like stop getting money from surfing. I need to find another avenue that I can do for work and just love on surfing and enjoy it. And then that'll have me fall back in love with it. And so that's kind of what I did. The next step to love surfing again.
Yeah, I was about to ask how your relationship with surfing changed after you stopped doing it professionally. Did you like take a break and you're like, okay, I'm done for a little bit?
Yeah, I didn't really love it. You know, I was kind of like, man, I don't really want to go surf, and I have no really drive to go surf, and then that's when I started doing some like inventory of myself. Like, dude, this is the best thing in the world, and now you don't like it. Like, what's going on here? And so that's when I started like doing some internal inventory, and I was just like, well, dude, you basically only look at surfing like what it can give you. So basically, it's just an exchange. And like, how am I ever going to love something if I'm only looking at it as an exchange? That's just like a barter system.
For sure.
You know, I show up to the beach. What can the beach give me? If it can't give me what I want, I'm going to be pissed. So then I was like, well, dude, you got to change all that. And so then that's why then I went through that process of really just going, well, if I can show up and just give back to it, then that's what love is, you know? And so then I just showed up and just was like, how can I pour back into surfing? How can I give back on something that's given me so much? And that's how I fell back in love with surfing again. And now I paddle out when it's crappy and I probably don't surf that good. And I come in and think like, dude, that was so fun. Like, woo.
You gotta teach me how to do that.
Yeah. You're stoked prom again.
Yeah.
All I care about is doing errors, and I'm not probably good at it anymore, so I don't want to go out there.
Well, I quit doing that. That was a long time ago.
Right. I just love that I've surfed probably 7 times, 8 times in the last 6 years, all wave pools.
Well, that's pretty cool, though.
And I love the ocean, but there's too many sharks, you know? Like, I mean, there are people getting eaten in San Clemente. What's happening?
Dude,
what's going on? I heard someone got attacked in San Clemente. I started laughing, like, no, I swear to God. And I was like, I'm never surfing again.
Yeah, I think, you know what the funny thing?
2-foot D Street or whatever, and you got eaten. Like, fuck.
Well, you know what the funny thing is? It's like we could almost bring that back to Florida, because you remember how it was like, remember how we were just talking about, remember we guys were just talking about like, dude, it's like 1 foot and freaking crappy. Like, what do you got? Come on in, let's go. It's like the same way when people are like, dude, it's kind of sharky around here. You're like, well, dude, it's actually not shark at all. Like, I was surfing with like hundreds of sharks. Yeah. And I'd be like, no, dude, it's worth it. Like, let's stay out here. It's pretty good.
Oh, my God. So do you think we're flipping from Florida being the shark place to Cali? I mean, there's been quite a bit of shark attacks here.
There were a bunch that they just reported in Florida that were all like a week apart from each other.
Yeah.
And Florida still wins.
You know what the old fishermen used to tell us? They'd be like, dude, you got, because we used to, you know where the inlet is? We used to jump in that.
Yeah, like, the middle part.
And then paddle over to Monster Hole.
So sketchy.
And the fishermen were like, dude, I've seen great whites. You guys shouldn't be doing that, blah, blah. And we're like, what does this guy know?
What does he know? He's here every day.
Great whites in Florida. This guy's an idiot. Then they started tracking the great whites. And, dude, they all go through Florida. They even go in, like, that intercoastal.
Don't you have, like, bull sharks, too?
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have everything. Those are the worst ones,
Yeah, those are the worst. And so we started doing that. I remember thinking back in my head, dude, you were such an idiot. You were telling that fisherman he didn't know what he was talking about. And he totally knew what he was talking about.
Totally knew.
Yeah.
This is so funny. What else you got over
there?
I mean, how's it, like, going from Florida and surfing all those waves to California? I know you've been here a while, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, do you go back
how was
to
that
Florida
transition?
I go, like, once a year.
Yeah.
Just bring the kids back. And, I mean, I miss my friends and family at times, you know, but...
And Siege is back at home, right?
Yeah, so I'm the only one out of my family that moved out here. And, but I mean, I love it here. I mean, I can surf anytime. Like, it's like, I can go snowboarding. Like,
you have free fish 101.
Yeah.
Right.
I can go fishing. So it's...
Yeah, tell us about the best fishing trip you've been on. Is it a, like exotic, or is it just around here? Because I don't fish, but I love it. You know,
I mean, probably some of the funnest times is around here.
Really?
Like out to San Clemente Island.
Yeah, on a boat.
You know, like to like fishing and just
chilling.
You know, even like diving.
Really?
You know,
weren't we just talking about sharks though?
Yeah.
Damn it. I'm just kidding. I think if you're in the water underneath, they don't attack you as much. You're just part of the sea. I think when you're above and you look like a turtle, or if you're just above and look like a dick, that's when they attack, right?
I don't know.
I always try to tell people the movies of the fin is not a real thing. Every attack comes from the bottom.
Yeah.
And it, like, grabs your
Yeah,
asshole.
no, it's full.
Gotcha, bitch.
Yeah. It's what am I trying to say? It's an ambush predator.
Right. And
like,
people think it's a movie when it comes like this. I'm going to die. It's
No,
like, no,
dude,
you're going to die when you're looking out the sunset. And,
yeah,
like,
he's
taking a
full.
selfie.
Because I kind of found out they're not that, like, great whites aren't that fast, like, compared to other fish. So they have to ambush their predators. Yeah.
See?
I saw this.
Finding out knowledge right
Dude,
here.
I saw this.
I thought they were fast.
I saw this footage of like this guy in a plane, and it was like an 18-foot great white, but he wasn't that fast because he was so fat, and the seal was just playing with him.
Really?
The guy's cruising, he's like bouncing off his nose, like, "Ah, you can't get me." It was just cruising, and I was like,
a fat bitch.
and I was like, "No way!" I was like, "Dude, they can only ambush." So he has to like hide under the water.
Right.
The seal doesn't know, and then that's when he blasts.
It's like an alligator, how like Kelly like slaps him in the ass when he's golfing and stuff because he knows
Yeah.
they're a little slow and they're not an ambi turner.
Yeah, but how's this? So, because everyone's like, dude, you got like alligators stuff. So now I'm like, dude, alligators like Lassie, like compared to like
You
a
Florida
pit bull.
guys. Yeah.
And that's what a pit bull is, like a crocodile, but like an alligator's like Lassie. And like,
Oh, I see what you're saying. The crocodile and alligators are totally different. Right?
So they're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh my gosh, you got this, and I was like, oh, dude, they're alligators, no big deal.
Crocodile, though.
Guess
is
what's
totally
up in our
different.
area now? Crocodiles. They used to only be in South Florida, like a few of them in South Florida. Dude, they started taking over and they made their way up. Oh no, dude, my buddy's fishing Sebastian Inlet. An alligator would never do this. Giant crocodile crawls up the rocks, hiding in the rocks, and he's fishing. He turns around and he sees the thing, like a 15-foot crocodile
Holy cows.
in the rocks, like
So
just
scary.
freaking tank. Just like an alligator would never do that. And I'm thinking like, oh, dude, it's gonna do a whole. I'm like, why, there's no one like, they're not a native species. Like, is anyone killing them? Like, no, you're not allowed to. And I'm like, oh my goodness. So who knows what's going on?
And those things can book it if they want to.
Yeah.
Like they can,
I mean,
if
he
they
just-
sneak up on you, they can get you.
I saw him crawl right over the rocks, giant rocks, like no big deal. I'm like,
I just saw a surf clip of Steve Irwin. I just put on my story. What a fucking cool dude.
Yeah.
And I thought it was the first time I saw him really surf. We surfed with him, but the waves were like knee high and it was shitty. He's got such a cool style.
Yeah.
Such a dope dude.
dude, I
He's so
remember
cool.
seeing the show. Well, not only that you guys did the drive-through with
Yeah.
him, but also, do you remember when he went to Sumatra because he wanted to hang with the orangutans?
No. It was one of his shows?
It was one of his shows
And when he
back in the
surfs?
day. This was back in the day, and he was hanging with like the Sumatra like orangutans, and then he went out surfing.
And he's like, look at the waves.
Yeah, and he's serving this left point, and it was so
It's
sick.
so rad.
And I was like, dude, this is insane, dude. I didn't even know this guy served. But I knew he was small Australian, so I figured he served. And
Man,
then like,
you-
after that, you guys went and hung
It
with
was
him.
the coolest day of my life. He goes, hey, we go, hey, Steve, do you surf? And he goes, mate. And we go into his office, in the office of the zoo, right? And he goes, check this out. And he had like 15 board quivers. Perfect. They're all pintails, like 6'8", pintails, 7'0".
Yeah.
And it was like 2 foot waves. We were all riding 7'0" pintails from Irwin, and we wore his jackets and shorts. It was so rad. I mean, he was like, do I surf?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? And he's like, look at my office.
Dude, you gotta pull. I don't know where this. You gotta pull the archives up.
I'm gonna
And
watch that later. Steve
'cause
Irwin, whatever.
It was
Crikey, I
in
think his name is.
Sumatra with the orangutans.
Was he riffing?
Yeah, and it was less.
like
he had that style. He had that
He's
style.
like, "Sah."
And I was like, and ever since that show, I was just like sold. I was like, no way.
Most
That's
authentic human being
Yeah.
I've ever met in my life. And when you first see it, you're like, this guy's so corny. And then when you get to meet him, you're like, oh no, this is the realest person you'll ever meet in your life. He cared so much about everything. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, it was
Dude,
so fun.
yeah, but once because what hooked me in on the show, he's like, I'm going to Sumatra, and I was all I thought it was the Mentawis. I was all, wait, what? This guy's in the Mentawis? He's scoring.
He's such a dope dude. And he would have been good in Florida too. He would have went to Sebastian and like, hey, you see over there, mate? That's what's the big things you guys
Manatees.
Have? Manatees. Have you ever seen a manatee?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was the scary coming from Hawaii, and I was with Slater. I was probably 16 or something, and I'm paddling out right by the jetty, and I'm like, holy fuck!
Yeah.
It was a giant. You can't. Okay, for people out there, you got to Google manatee because there's no pictures out there that people have ever seen. He looks like he's from a sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
I can't even. What is it? Like a hippo?
Well, they call it like a sea cow. So it's like
sea cow.
If a cow like turned into like an animal that could live in the water.
And they're mellow, right?
They're super mellow, but they're big.
They don't attack people. Right?
No, they don't hurt.
Do
but
sharks fuck with them?
I don't know. I
Seems
haven't
like they'd
seen.
be like a
Seem like
buffet.
alligators would too.
Yeah,
But
I've seen videos. The alligators and the crocodiles avoid them.
They do?
avoid them.
Yeah. So that's why if you go swimming in Florida, you're supposed to if you find manatees somewhere, it's safe to swim there because the alligators and
That's kinda
crocodiles
cool.
will just go all the way
I'm gonna
around them.
Google them later.
So yeah, and
watch
so
videos.
they usually live in the river, but because that waterway's right there, they go out and they'll come around and they'll.
So that's kind of rare if they're in the ocean.
It is rare when they're in the ocean, but they'll do it where those inlets are.
Inlands are. Okay, so I saw one in the ocean and I was tripping, and that's
Yeah.
that's not normal.
That's not normal
Okay.
because they're usually
Just
but
calm water.
but then so and actually
What do they eat?
They eat just like grass.
Oh,
and like
okay.
little
Fuck, what a trip.
Yeah, they're like a cow. They just eat grass.
Fucking cool.
But you know what? You know what my favorite animal is?
What?
Is a dugong.
A dugong?
A dugong.
What is that?
Dude, it's half manatee, half dolphin.
What?
Dude, and it's real. So, dude, I was at Uluwatu one time, and I look over, and
We're gonna Google that one.
No,
what is
look-
it? Google.
Yeah, dugong. And so
Dugong.
I'm at Ulu's, and I'm like looking over. I'm like, dude, you guys got freaking manatees here. I'm like, I can't believe you got manatees, dude. It's like Florida, dude. And they're like, nah, it's not a manatee. I'm like, dude, what is it? And they're like, it's a dugong. And I'm all, what's a
Sounds
dugong?
like an Aussie term, huh?
Yeah. So then I looked.
Is it? Let me see.
I looked it up, and
It has a dolphin tail with the
it's
manatee
a manatee
face.
with a dolphin tail. So then I'm like, no way. And they're like, yeah. And I guess they're kind of like those, like the Hawaiian seal monk or
Oh yeah, a monk seal.
monk seal. They're
No
like
way.
them. So they live like by
They look like
themselves.
hippos too. The manatee is such like for people out there. It looks like a hippo swimming through the water,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
without big giant teeth and looks kind of cuddly.
Yeah.
He's cool.
Dude, he's like a giant capybara. What do they call those things?
I swear to God, that's probably one of the coolest people to hang out with if you speak dolphin. You're like,
Yeah. But so I guess the dugong, so the manatees hang together, but the dugong is full like a
Separate
Hawaiian
Monk seal?
monk seal. Dude, he goes by himself.
Just chilling.
And he doesn't want anyone poaching his areas, and he like fends them off unless he's mating. And then allow them.
then it gets crazy.
Yeah. But so, yeah.
Sounds like me.
And you know what? And then I went to the Taronga Zoo in Sydney, and they have one like
Really?
in the zoo, like in the aquarium or whatever. And I'm
That's
like,
so
no way, it's a
fucking funny.
dugong.
Those are the only things we see. Imagine way down there. There's some dugong sisters and brothers that are totally different.
Yeah.
Like Tommy Lee Jones. I put that on my podcast. I mean, my Instagram. You know those memes where they put two celebrities together? I had Tommy Lee and Tommy Jones. His face is fucking funny. Sorry, I'm going down a rabbit hole, but I had so much fun on my story this morning. If you guys want to watch it, it's funny. Just cat videos for days.
Oh, did you get the sick cat video?
I got cat videos
And
for
dog
days.
videos.
Those guys are partying, man. You got to party with them. And they're the only real actors out there that is funny to me. Like when the guy's trying to do stand up nowadays, I'm like, that cat was funnier. There's no way. You could
Dude, I got
be
the
a cat.
kids. I have my kids watch it too. I'm like, dude, check this cat
No,
out.
I have more kids that follow my stories than adults because they're like, dude, this is actually for kids.
You actually, I think I piggyback all your stuff. Remember the skibbity pap? I'm gonna skibbity pap you up. So I started doing that to my kids. I'm like, dude, you better be good. I'm gonna skibbity pap you.
Oh my God, that was so funny.
Remember that?
There's so many ones where to myself, I'm like, this should be the funniest video in the world. And then it goes by, then I forget about it. That one was so funny.
Dude, the skibbity paps, dude. That was so
I was hoping
sick.
that caught on. Your kids got onto it.
Well, I started telling them, like, dude, you guys better calm down. I'm gonna skibbity pap you.
Oh, fuck. You know what? There's a lot of bad stuff about social media and all this stuff, but if you just look at the good stuff, it's so great.
Yeah.
It makes my morning. And the best was Jack Johnson told me one time, he goes, hey, you're doing stand-up. That's so cool. He goes, I have the funniest joke. And I go, cool. What is it? And he goes, I can't go number 2, and he didn't even say poop. He goes, number 2, without my phone. And I don't use my phone.
Yeah.
But he goes, if I go to the bathroom and I have to poo and I don't have my phone, I can't poop.
Yeah.
He goes, how funny is that? And I go, that is super funny. But if I have to tell the joke, I got to say your name to make it relevant to the fact that Jack Johnson goes and poops and he can't do it without social media. Because everyone knows he's not on his phone. I'll text him, and 3 years later, he's like, hey, what's up, bud? I'm like, bitch, that was 2 weeks ago. Like, what? But if he's shitting, he's all day. He's like watching cat videos.
Maybe he knows about Skibbity Pap.
You
know what? So that's another funny one is Jack Johnson. Because I remember you guys were like, dude, you got to listen to this guy. This guy is unreal. It's G-Love. And like, dude, check this rodeo clown. It was like the Malloys. And I'm thinking like, dude, it doesn't sound that good to me. I'm like, dude, give me the punk rock stuff.
Right.
And you guys are like, no, dude, this guy's going to be big. This guy. Man, I'm thinking, dude, these guys have lost their minds. And then I was like, well, dude, just come to the shows. And like, and then I was like so stoked that Jack was like answering my text and I was getting into the shows.
Yeah.
You remember? And he was doing some shows and answering the text. And all of a sudden he blew just out of this atmosphere. And when I was like, oh my gosh, those guys were right. They know everything. I was denying the heck out of them.
Yeah, right. I was skeptic of this guy. He was playing the banjo or something. No, my life was a movie, and one of the best parts of the movie was me and Tom. I saw Tom's whole career in front of my eyes.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of it, I'm in Reunion Island, and Jack is filming me for on a mission video, and he this thing called a DAT tape. I'm still really tight with Tom, and we're gonna golf the day I got home. And so in Reunion Island, Jack's filming me for this surf video, which is ironic enough because we were best friends and we're both pro surfers basically. And then he went on his own tangent.
Was that when the Reunion Island contest was there?
It was called the something pro.
Dude, it was like the Yo Play Pro.
Yeah.
Like some yogurt company. Dude, I was there.
Okay.
I was a girl.
So remember Jack was there?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're at our French villa thing. And one night, out of nowhere, and me and Jack were in a Metallica band, and I knew he was good on guitar and all that shit. And he had a really ridiculous band in college called
Rob
The Wasp.
was there too, right?
Yeah, that was the person who had the dad. So Rob's really good at guitar at this point, and he goes like this. He goes, "Hey, it was just me, him, and Rob, and we're sitting like this at a fireplace, and I was having a shocker trip. There's so many levels to why I was having a shocker, and he goes, "Hey, you guys, I want to hear a song I did," and we're like, "Yeah." Fuck yeah. And he starts playing this song. And it might have been Taylor or one of his first hits. And he finally sang in front of us. And we're all, and me, I remember this like it was 10 seconds ago. I remember going and looking at Rob and going, oh, he's going to be famous. Like, this is crazy.
Oh, you thought that?
No, right when he sang,
you knew.
And I was all, and then Rob, this is the best part. And I pray to God Rob hears this and fucking laughs. He had this thing called a DAT tape, and he had a little microphone. And Rob was really good, and he was recording his music,
Rob's
and
good.
doing the photos, trying to be a fucking artist or whatever. Fucking dork. No, I'm kidding. I couldn't do it because I always made fun of myself, and I couldn't do it. But Rob was good at it.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I just remember looking at Rob when Jack hit the strum of I think it might have been Rodeo Clowns, but I don't think it was like some other song. And right when he sang, I looked at Rob, and Rob went, wait a second, wait. And he went and got his DAT tape, put it down, and Jack played 3 songs, I think. And when we left, I remember getting on the plane with Rob. We were coming back here, and I go, he's going to be fucking famous, huh? And Rob's like, dude, that's fucking nuts. Like, it's on. And G-Love, like couple months later, put him on. And this is the best story because the next day, I think I was like 24. I get home, and Tom DeLonge goes, hey, do you want to go play Singing Hills? Or it was really far away. And I go, yeah. And on the way there, I go, hey, my friend's going to be super famous. He's going to be, Jack's going to be famous. And I remember Tom going, it's really hard to make it. And I looked at him and I said, before you made it, you were talking about your dick and your asshole and all that shit. And I go, and I was laughing going, you're never going to make it. And you made it. I go, trust me, this guy's going to make it.
Yeah.
And we were both kind of giggling. Probably 6 months later, he was on 91X.
Yeah.
On Rodeo Clowns.
And
I fucking called Tom and I said, Tom, he's on the radio. Son.
Yeah.
And it went, that was the most popular song in 91X history. Because it would literally, they only played it here. It was like Jack Johnson City. It was on.
Yeah.
So it was like, of course, the city I am living in from Hawaii is the biggest Jack Johnson explosion.
Yeah.
And every year he'd come here, he was the biggest celebrity. And, you know, where he lived, it was big, but nothing like San Diego.
Yeah.
They loved him here. So
Well, I remember
that's my
you
story.
guys telling me that, and I was like, dude, these guys don't know what they're talking about. Like, I don't know if this guy's gonna be big, but whatever. That's what they're saying.
So they're saying.
And then I remember I think he was on his honeymoon, and he was in Lacanau.
And he burned his face.
Oh no, I was with Dan Malloy, and they're like, dude, this guy's gonna be a big musician. Like, this guy's been big. I'm like, dude, all I know him from is Surfing Backdoor when he ate the reef, and I was all, dude, the guy's pretty rad. Like, he charges. Like, that's all that matters, you know.
Totally.
And it was super funny.
Oh, dude, seeing Rolling Stones overseas, Tom DeLonge making Rolling Stones, and Jack making Rolling Stones, and we're traveling through, and I go to New Zealand, and he's the biggest celebrity in New Zealand history, Jack, still, the biggest. And I get to New Zealand one year, and I'm getting antagonized because of customs, and I smell like weed probably. And I'm looking back, and the guy that's the security guard has a Jack Johnson shirt on, and I'm like, huh. And that was right when he was blown up. And I walk outside, he's on Rolling Stones, and I start talking to everyone. I'm like, you guys know who Jack Johnson? He's like, it's the best musician in the world, mate. Like, best in the world. And I was like, my friend that I grew up with on the beach in Hawaii is now the biggest musician in the world. I was like, what the fuck? And I was like, 2 years ago it was Tom. I was like, now it's him? And it was just wild because could there be a better person that took that fame and used it for good?
Totally.
No one better than Jack Johnson.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just, but I mean, that was just the stuff you guys would do, and I'd be like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like, they knew. Like, you guys knew everything.
It's like Shane Dorian right now.
Yeah.
He won't let Ross be the best coach in the world.
Yeah.
Now he's the best coach in the world.
I never thought about that.
What I on the thread last night, I
never
was so
thought
close
about
to
that.
texting, like, because Shane just got
my
the
gosh.
U.S. team,
Yeah.
and I go, oh my god, like Shane's still competitive to the
Dude,
Ross.
you know what they should
Billabong
play?
movie back.
They should play
Like
those.
Jim, what's his name? Jim Jay. Who's the guy that made the films? Jack McCoy.
yeah.
What if Jack McCoy made a coaching? Is Jack McCoy alive? If he's alive, they should make a Sick Joy.
Yeah, I
Remember that
forgot
movie?
about that. I forgot about how competitive they are.
And
now they're like
coaches competitive.
Dude, that's so
Isn't that fun?
sick.
I thought about that last night. I'm like, they should make another Billabong
never
movie
even
where they
thought
hate
about
each
that.
other and they're all pissed.
I never thought about. They're like arguing while they're coaching, like and their guys are out surfing and they're like battling.
Dude, I love that about my friends though. It's like nobody in my grip ever gives up. They're like, keep moving, keep going, be good, be grateful. It's just so rad.
No, that's great because I mean you're taking down Rogan soon, right?
Oh my God, totally.
You know?
He's so little.
Yeah.
I just tackle him and then he does jiu-jitsu and chokes me out.
Yeah. But
But
no,
I'm
I'm
like-
talking about the podcast. So
Oh, yeah,
You're gonna take
I'm not gonna think about the great thing about Joe Rogan is right when I did stand up at the Belly Up, and Shane Dorian came, he goes, Shane only gets, and when Shane is happy for you or I guess inspired, which is kind of funny because he was there for all these moments in my life, and he would, when he saw you do something great, he made sure you knew it, right? But if you weren't, he made sure you knew it,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
by just not saying anything, right? Shane was just that, he was him.
He was
In
just
our
flat
group,
tire,
he
yeah.
was him.
Yeah.
I mean, he taught me to not get an agent to deal with Billabong. And Paul Gomez says, I respect Shane Dorian more than anybody. He comes in here, he tells me what he's worth. We negotiate for 5 minutes, and it's over. And he goes, Shane is the man. So he's always been my guy. I did the Belly Up the other day, and not the other day, like a year ago, and he was there. And I make jokes about him and everything. And the first person that runs backstage and lifts me up, hugs me and lifts me up. He's like, what the fuck? I didn't know you could do that and all this stuff. And I shit the bed. I wasn't good. But he goes, dude, you got to get on Rogan. Like, you got to do this. And it was like, it's like kind of like your green ticket when Shane says something positive, and it made me feel good. I realized at that moment that Shane was so excited for me, he didn't realize how much work I still needed to do to even come close to that kind of vibe. But I was like, if Shane Dorian is happy, which when he's happy, he's Jack Johnson, and he's on so much juice, and he's lifting you in the air and slapping you in the face.
I've been waiting for that for a long time.
Yeah,
from Shane.
Shane will never pick you up
I've
unless you
tri-
get away with Chopu in front of him.
I've tried to do it all. I've gone away in front of him, Chopu, and that still never happened.
Never happened.
Yeah,
He's a tough cookie. He's a tough cookie.
I
He
couldn't
crumbled.
crack the nut.
Dude, that guy is he's so intense. So that's why he's going to take over Ross's. He's probably going to start coaching John. It's going to get weird.
But I gotta admit, I was super stoked, and I don't know who pulled the trigger on that, but like probably couldn't think of a better guy to coach the USA team.
Oh, God, totally.
You know?
Fuck, totally.
Insane.
No, it's insane that those two guys are the best coaches in the world now.
Yeah.
Because our crew is so, I'm not going to say lit, but so tight and consistent for so long. I mean, talking 40 years in the surf industry, all those dudes.
Yeah.
Like when we were kids, I was a baby. They were already pros.
Yeah.
You know? Like they've been doing it for 40 years. It's wild.
So.
Not a bad crew.
So I've been riding your guys' coattails. So that's what I'm
God,
saying.
it works, right?
Yeah.
I rode Kelly's. I'm still riding them. I like hang out with pro golfers and musicians. I'm like, hey, I'm Kelly's friend. They're like, I know, Dick. Get over here. Give me a kiss. I'm like, okay. No, it's good stuff. Like his kids, do they surf?
So my oldest daughter surfs. My son could care less.
He can care less. He's the younger one, right?
He's a 14-year-old. He's the middle, and then my youngest likes to surf, but she's so small. It's kind of like she's kind of a little hood ornament on the surfboard.
Right? Are they all going to school in Encinitas? We're all Encinitas people, right?
Yeah. So
mom.
No. So Colt's going to Carlsbad. He's gonna go to high school in Carlsbad.
Why?
Yeah, Taylor Knox got him. Said Taylor was like, you got to go to Carlsbad.
Whoa,
cool. So
does he know that Taylor's nickname is Bonehead though?
I don't know. I think he missed that part.
Sorry, Taylor, but it's still Bonehead to me. Yeah, right. I sent a picture to the thread the other day of this guy looked like Elmer Fudd because we always would. I mean, Chris Maloney did look like Elmer.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no way around it. And both of those guys said no more of that, like no more Elmer, no more Fudd, and no more Bonehead. And so we had to get through that. And the other day I sent one to the thread, and I was like, I hope he's not mad. Like, dude, they look just like Elmer Fudd.
Oh, so you guys really said like no more of that?
Well, yeah, I mean Taylor for sure, and Taylor fuck off.
Yeah, I remember that.
But he totally said, "Don't do that anymore." And I was like,
well, I
now
never
we're
did
gonna
it.
do it every time.
No,
Like,
I never did it. It just because I was like riding the coattails. So I was like,
this is how good Slater is, and how connected he is to everything. He goes, we're at the fucking wave pool, and we're all talking about his son's name, and we came up with Gator, obviously.
Yeah, that's so
and
sick.
so the best part about it was we go, hey Kelly, but what are you really going to name him? And he goes, well, obviously you guys are going to call him Gator. Like it doesn't matter. He goes, well, we're probably going to have another name, but he's a Gator, like no matter what. And that was Kelly going, I submit to you, my friends, because there's no way around it. It's so true. My name is Butt Mutt, Benji Mutt, Muttley Crew. I can't get around it.
Yeah.
And if I want them to stop, they're going to do it more.
The minute you say, dude, don't call me that, they're going to be like, oh, thank you.
So we call him, instead of Bonehead, we call him Bone Thugs and Harmony, or Bones and all that stuff. So it's not so insulting, but still the exact same insult. So yeah, it's fun. Nicknames. I mean, your name is Damien, but you've never been called that in your life. You're Damien.
Yeah, or just, I remember a couple of times you guys would say it, and I'm like, ooh, gosh, I can't believe they're saying that.
Right? We get a nickname.
No, when you guys would say to Taylor. Like
Bonehead?
Yeah.
I know.
I remember he'd we'd be like watching his heat, like, go Taylor, like, you got this, like, go, dude. Like, and then like he would do something, and like
why do you do that
one
for?
of his good friends, like Kelly would be like, dang, Bonehead. And I was like, dude, I don't think we're supposed to say that.
It was unbelievable to watch, because if all he thought about was that, probably, in his heat, because he served way better than his results. I mean,
totally.
It was fun to
Maybe that's how you guys kept him down. That is, now that I think about it.
And that's why he's so rad now.
No, now that I think about it, you guys are dicks.
Fuck yeah, we are.
Dude.
Are you kidding me? Todd Chester would have made you cry. Would have made you cry. I would go like this to Todd Chester. This is my crew back in the real day when Hawaiians were scary as hell. Todd Chester would always go, we'd always be watching the waves. And I go, look at that right. And he goes, you look at it. And I'd be like, what the fuck? Why did he say that? And it would burn in my head. Like, okay, I guess I'm not allowed to say, look at that wave. And then, you know what I mean? Like, there were things, like, he would just heckle you so much. It was so fun, because you need that, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
dude, one time I remember there's imagine like Holland and the redneck guys. And I don't know if I did something in the inlet or something, but they're like, that's it. And they grabbed my board, like ripped my leash off, grabbed my board, and swam it way out there. And I was like, oh my gosh, my board. I'm going to lose my board. And like, I swam to the beach and like grabbed someone else's board and like was like, I got to go get my board. And I paddled so far out and like finally got to my board, and there was all these bait fish, and it was probably sharks. And I vividly, when I was like 12 years old, I'll never forget this. There's like fish jumping over my back and I'm like getting rained on by fish, and I know there's sharks underneath me that are doing it, and I'm trying to get my board, and I'm like, I'm gonna die, and like I got to the beach and was like scarred for life.
That was
like,
some serious hazing, right?
And
there.
I was just like, dude, you almost killed me. I almost got eaten by a shark. And they're like, I don't even remember what I did, but they're like, dude, just give us some room, Grom. Like, go down the beach.
You're too aggressive, probably.
Yeah, but it was kind of like that. It was
the
heavy.
crew at Sebastian was pretty. All your
Yeah.
elders for sure. Like the guy. This is a funny story about your crew. The surfer that was older, the regular foot. It was Kelly's hero, and he was really mean to Kelly. And he came to the wave pool. Kelly invited him.
So which one was this?
He's a regular foot. He lives here in Encinitas now. Really good surfer. He surfs like rabbit, and he's older. He's like 60. God, please tell me.
There's so many guys. I don't want to.
Jensen? No, not Jensen.
So there's Jeff Crawford.
Nope. Keep going.
There's
This guy is so freaking
Charlie
cool.
Coon.
Nope. He was skinny. He's an older skinny guy.
Well, that's Jim Hogan, maybe.
No.
But he's from Oceanside.
Yeah, no,
right?
this guy. When you say his name,
He's from Florida.
dang it! I should almost text Kelly.
Oh, like, well, is he regular foot or goofy
yep,
foot?
he's regular foot.
So there's like a
he was like the best surfer.
Yeah, Bill Hartley.
Not Bill
Todd
Hartley.
Morcom.
Nope, older. This guy's 60. And he sent Kelly in as a kid and was really mean to him.
Well, those guys were so.
And
gnarly.
Kelly goes, dude, when he was surfing, he goes, we're at the wave ranch, and he goes, this was my hero, but he was such a dick to me.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen him since. Yeah. And then I met him when Kelly was surfing, and I go, yeah, I heard you were kind of a gnarly local older guy. And he goes, I was the worst. He goes, I feel so bad. I can't believe I'm here.
Oh, dude,
and
I
got
know the
to
guy.
see him see each other, and I watched it, and I was like, dude, this is rad. And I just saw him the other day at Peabody's. God,
No
what's his
way,
name?
dude. Give me his name.
Fuck. And he's a shaper, I think.
Oh, not Pat Mulhorn.
Pat Mulhorn.
Mulhorn, yeah.
That's his name.
Yeah.
Mulhorn.
Yeah.
Older guy, 60?
Yeah.
And a shaper, I think?
Yeah, but he's kind of skinny.
He's
like
skinny.
small. Yeah.
He's super skinny.
Yeah.
And
it's
older
Mulhorn.
and skinny,
Yeah.
but ripped still.
Yeah, Mulhorn was gnarly.
Dude,
Yeah.
Kelly goes, this was my favorite surfer. And he's, when you're inside the ranch
Yeah,
and you're watching,
yeah.
and I go, wow. And he's sort of like rabbit. He got barreled the whole way and sick. But he goes, he was so mean to me.
Dude, they were
And it
all
was
so
like-
gnarly.
And then the guy goes, yeah, I was bad to Kelly. And he goes, I can't believe I'm here. I haven't seen him. And then they saw each other, and I was like, oh, this is dope. And I got to watch them kind of make peace. And
Dude, I remember being like a little kid, and like Kelly was like a little bit older.
Pat Matworn.
And then Kelly was a little bit older, and he'd go out to try to go like by first peak, and they would just shut him down.
Shut him down.
And they'd be like, dude, and I'm like, whoa, these guys are gnarly. Like, whoa, dude.
Yeah, it was like.
And then they actually were gnarly, dude.
Yeah.
Because I think they were like,
yeah.
I think they were like running the drug trade, and like,
Right.
I don't know what was going on, but I was just like, whoa, dude.
Yeah, no,
These
I
guys are
remember that
gnarly.
pack being pretty. Kelly was definitely scared.
And we
of
were just
those
little
dudes.
groms, like, whoa, and they're like, yeah.
That made you guys who you are, though. If you got to paddle out to the peak like nowadays, these kids do.
Yeah.
Groms don't get hazed enough anymore.
They don't get hazed.
Dude, remember being driving to the inlet? They're like, dude, see that over there? That's where the freaking drugs come in. They in night they go through the inlet and they come in, dude, and that's those guys are running. I'm like, whoa, dude. I'm like, I just want to get a couple waves. Like, I don't want to get in their way. And it was like, yeah, I don't know. Kelly probably got some good stories about
He's
that.
got some crazy stories. How was your drive-through the other day? Did you edit it and everything?
Haven't edited it yet. So I did like a drive-through junior. So I took a bunch of groms from where I live that are like, there's a good few of them that you'll probably see on the CT in 6 years or something like that. But we came down to San Clemente, like stayed at a house because we didn't have the funds to get like a big RV. But we had them surf at lowers and stuff. It was awesome. They were stoked. And we got Benji, Kalani, and Donovan to
Epic to like come.
have little
Awesome.
cameos. I took them to Kalani's house one of the days to do, you know, Kalani does the trash can ice bath.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the groms just kept seeing me. Like, I'd walk away from them and take phone calls. So they're like, who are you talking to? I'm like, man, I'm not telling you. You'll find out. And so we show up. I make them go to the liquor store. I'm like, okay, go get 8 big bags of ice. And they're like, why? I'm like, just go get it. Don't ask questions. Because I talked to Greg ahead of time. And he's like, just make them do things. Do not answer any questions. On this drive-through, you are God. Anything you say goes. You don't need to answer to anybody. I'm like, awesome.
Yeah.
So we show up at Kalani's. He walks out of his garage. And
Oh, they didn't know it was Claudia.
Oh, they had no idea. They're just like, whose house is this? Kalani walks out of the garage like, oh my God, it's Kalani Rob. Like, yeah, I was like, go bring in the ice. And so they drop all the ice and he like gives him a little tour of the garage and he's like, okay, flips the trash can open. He's like, get in. Like, what? And he's like,
so good.
He's like, yeah, open up 4 bags of ice. And I had this 1 Grom, Max. Benji met Max.
Oh yeah, he was the man.
Yeah. And Max he was the one that.
Donovan. He literally became the Donovan of the crew.
Yeah.
He put a mustache on, this hat, and did my leisure dive. He did a perfect leisure dive with Donovan in the back. It was so sick.
And Max is that kid who was always picked on, so he takes nothing seriously at all. You could tell him to go die, and he'd be like, yeah, that's funny. So he's kind of like chirping at Kalani the whole time while Kalani's talking to them. And you can see Kalani's like kind of starting to get annoyed. Like, okay, this kid thinks he's the shit. All right. Like, he's like, so, all right, Max, you're getting in first. And Max is playing it like, oh, I don't know. I don't want to go first. I got to change that. But hypes Kalani up. So he's like, all right, dump 5 bags of ice in and get in. And Max does it and can actually take it, and he's sitting there staring, just dead stare at Kalani, and Kalani's like, hey, you can actually hang? And Max is like, oh yeah, I'll go all day. After that, best friends. We saw him the next day. Kalani's like, that's my boy right there, that's Max, and Max loved it.
He was my fave too. He was rad.
Yeah, they all loved Max, but pulling up to Donovan's house was great because they also had no idea.
We were there.
Not at all. I have footage of them as we're driving up the driveway, like, whose house? Look at this house. Look at that tennis court. Wait, are we playing tennis right now? Wait, who's near the ball? Oh my God, is that Benji and Donovan? And they're freaking out. It was
Dude, I always
awesome.
wished I was like, I secretly wished I was like, did one of the drive-thrus back in the day.
They're so fun, man.
You
would have been so good on them, but you're too consistent in contests.
No, but I just remember like, dude, I want to do that. And I remember like before, it's probably like spawned on the drive-thru. There was like, it was like a trip, and it was like, I think it was like Pat, you, and Donovan, and then like CJ got to go to the house one time where you guys were. It was like in Australia somewhere.
Yeah.
And they were like, I don't know if they were doing some, I don't know how he got in. And here comes our boy. And you, woo! And then and he got to hang out, and he was like, dude, it was the funniest thing I've ever done in my life. Yeah, it was the funniest thing ever, and he was just laughing.
Oh my God, I remember that. Well, there you go. We probably just came back from where Annie edited a little bit.
Yeah,
but, Damo, can't even thank you enough. It's so easy.
I was waiting to get the call up to get on the Let's Potty, so thank you.
I'm stoked that you're here, and Annie's gonna have to edit a lot of my lisps and stuff, but we'll be good.
Well, I think. Can you do subtitles?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I can do closed captions.
Okay, because a lot of people, these guys always used to make fun of me, like, dude, no one can understand what you're saying. Like, no one understands what you're saying. I'm like, really?
By the way, you've changed. It was way heavier.
Oh, it used to be worse?
Dude,
okay.
And we all thought you smoked weed, which was, for me, because as I smoke weed for a living, I was always like, yeah, he smokes, for sure. Same with Machado. He was like, dude, man, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, he's a stoner. You were the only person in the world that everyone said was a stoner, and I knew you weren't. I was like, he's not a stoner, but he is a stoner. I was like, dude, it's so gnarly.
Yeah, and I remember you guys were like, dude, I can't understand what you're saying. And then I was just like, oh, no one can understand what I'm saying. I'm like,
now it's nice, though. It's literate.
So, but now they got subtitles and everything, so you can just like do it easy.
She'll do that.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of editing.
It's all AI.
Yeah.
But thanks, Annie, and thanks you.
Thanks, guys. And so I do got to go potty, so.
We're going to go potty for real. Love you guys. Check, please.